Hello, my friends. Welcome back once again. I am very happy you are here today. Imagine a single candle, glowing softly, inside a dark room. Outside, storms come and go. Winters arrive and disappear. The world changes slowly, year after year. But the small light continues burning quietly, without stopping. Today, our story follows a woman whose life was very much like that candle. She lived through love and heartbreak, through political change and personal sorrow, through years when the world transformed completely. She began life as a lonely little girl, and later became one of the most powerful women in history. Her name was Queen Victoria. Today we will travel back into the past and discover her extraordinary journey together. It is a story about strength, responsibility, family, grief, and determination. If you enjoy learning English through calm historical storytelling, then stay with me and let us begin this peaceful journey. The year was 1819. In the great city of London, England, a baby girl was born inside Kensington Palace. Her full name was Alexandrina Victoria, although most people simply called her Victoria. At that time, Britain was already becoming one of the strongest countries in the world. Ships traveled across oceans, carrying goods, soldiers, and ideas to distant lands. Yet inside the palace, nobody could fully imagine how important this small child would one day become. Victoria's father was Prince Edward, Duke of Kent. Her mother was Princess Victoria from Germany. Her parents cared deeply for their daughter, but sadness arrived very early in Victoria's life. When she was still a baby, her father became seriously ill and died. Victoria was less than 1 year old. Suddenly, her mother found herself raising a child alone inside the royal palace. Victoria grew up surrounded by strict rules and constant supervision. Her childhood was not free or joyful like the childhoods of many ordinary children. She rarely played outside, and she almost never spent time alone. Her mother and an advisor named Sir John Conroy controlled nearly every part of her daily life. Historians later called this system of control the Kensington system. For young Victoria, the palace often felt lonely and cold, despite its beauty and wealth. She had very few close friends, and spent much of her time studying. Yet loneliness also helped shape her character. Victoria became intelligent, disciplined, and thoughtful. She studied languages including French, German, and Italian. She practiced drawing and music, and she developed a strong habit of writing in her diary every single day. Those diaries later revealed much about Victoria's emotions and personality. One thing became very clear from her writing. Even as a young girl, Victoria desperately wanted independence. She wanted the freedom to make her own decisions and live without constant control. During these lonely years, Victoria found comfort in simple companionship. One of her closest friends was a small dog named Dash. The little dog stayed beside her faithfully and brought warmth into her isolated childhood. Sometimes even small moments of affection can make difficult years easier to endure. As Victoria grew older, people across Britain slowly realized something important. The old king, William IV, had no surviving children who could inherit the throne. This meant that Victoria, despite her young age, was likely to become queen one day. On the morning of June 20th, 1837, everything changed forever. Victoria was only 18 years old when officials arrived early at Kensington Palace with important news. King William IV had died during the night. Victoria was now Queen of the United Kingdom. The young queen listened carefully and remained calm. According to historical accounts, she responded with dignity and quiet seriousness. Soon afterward, she attended her first official meeting with government advisors. Many expected to see a frightened and inexperienced girl. Instead, they discovered a confident young woman who listened carefully, spoke clearly, and behaved with maturity far beyond her years. Victoria quickly moved from Kensington Palace to Buckingham Palace. For the first time in her life, she experienced true independence. She could organize her own daily schedule and make decisions without constant supervision. The lonely child controlled by others had now become the ruler of a great nation. Although Victoria carried enormous political responsibility, she also desired happiness in her personal life. In 1839, she met Prince Albert of Saxe-Coburg-Gotha, a thoughtful and intelligent young prince from Germany. Albert loved science, art, music, and education. He was calm, disciplined, and deeply supportive. Victoria quickly fell in love with him. Because she was queen, royal tradition required her to propose marriage first. Albert accepted happily, and the couple married in 1840. Their marriage became one of the most important relationships in Victoria's life. Albert was not only her husband, but also her closest advisor and trusted companion. Together they had 9 children and created a large royal family. Victoria enjoyed spending time with her children, although balancing family life and royal duties was not always easy. During these years, Britain experienced enormous change. Factories expanded across the country during the Industrial Revolution. Railways connected cities. New inventions transformed communication and transportation. The British Empire also continued growing larger across the world. Victoria's reign became so important that historians later named the entire period after her. It became known as the Victorian Era. For many people, this age represented progress, industry, scientific discovery, and expanding global influence. Despite the success surrounding the monarchy, Victoria's happiest moments often remained personal rather than political. She deeply loved Albert and depended heavily on his advice and emotional support. He helped organize royal affairs, encouraged education and culture, and worked beside her faithfully. Then, tragedy struck. In 1861, Prince Albert became seriously ill. Victoria stayed near him constantly, hoping he would recover. But his condition worsened day after day. Finally, Albert died at the age of only 42. Victoria was devastated by the loss. The death of her husband changed her completely. For a long time, she withdrew from public life and spent much of her time grieving privately. She wore black clothing for the rest of her life as a symbol of mourning. She kept Albert's memory alive inside the palace and spoke about him constantly. Many people worried about the Queen during this period because she appeared deeply lost in sadness. Yet although grief remained with her forever, Victoria eventually found the strength to continue performing her duties. This quiet endurance became one of the most remarkable parts of her character. She did not simply forget her pain and move forward easily. Instead, she carried sorrow with her while continuing to lead the country year after year. As time passed, Victoria regained public respect and admiration. Britain became richer and more industrialized during her reign. Steamships crossed oceans. Telegraph lines allowed messages to travel rapidly. Railways expanded everywhere. The modern world was beginning to emerge. In 1876, Victoria received another important title when she became Empress of India. By this time, the British Empire stretched across enormous parts of the world. Victoria also became connected to many royal families throughout Europe because her children married princes and princesses from different countries. Eventually, people began calling her the Grandmother of Europe. Although Victoria appeared small and quiet in person, her influence on history became enormous. She ruled Britain for 63 years, one of the longest reigns in British history. By the end of her life, Victoria had witnessed extraordinary transformation. She saw advances in industry, transportation, science, and communication. She experienced moments of personal happiness and periods of deep heartbreak. Through everything, she remained steady and devoted to duty. Queen Victoria died on January 22, 1901, at the age of 81. Her death marked the end of an era. Millions of people across Britain and around the world mourned the passing of the Queen who had represented stability for more than 6 decades. Victoria's story teaches us many important lessons. She reminds us that strength does not always appear loud or dramatic. Sometimes true courage means continuing forward quietly, even after experiencing great pain. She also teaches us about resilience. As a child, she felt lonely and controlled. As an adult, she experienced heartbreaking loss. Yet she continued serving her country and fulfilling her responsibilities throughout difficult years. Perhaps there is another lesson hidden inside her journey as well. Victoria valued learning throughout her life. She studied languages, read constantly, and remained curious about the changing world around her. In many ways, learning gave her confidence and independence. And now here you are, listening to this story in English. Every word you understand and every sentence you follow is part of your own journey forward. Language learning also requires patience, discipline, and quiet determination. Stories from history help us improve more than vocabulary. They teach us about human emotions, choices, struggles, and perseverance. Through these stories, we connect with people from different times and places, while also strengthening our own understanding of the world. Thank you for joining me today and listening to the story of Queen Victoria. I hope this journey through history helped you practice your English, while also bringing you a peaceful and meaningful experience. If you enjoyed this lesson, please continue supporting the channel and sharing these stories with others who enjoy history and language learning. You can also leave a comment and tell us what part of Victoria's story touched you the most. Until next time, keep listening, keep learning, and continue moving forward, step by step on your English journey.